This video will begin a series of videos on creating a whole set of string utilities. For this particular video, we'll do steps 1, 2, and 3. We'll actually continue from the previous video where we were at, but we'll get steps 1, 2, and 3 going, which will actually specify out all of what we're going to be doing in the next few videos. Let's go ahead and jump right in here. We have what we had before, and I have this back to the step 1 form. Actually, there's a little step 2 in here. We're really not going to be adding any step 2s into this because all of the things we're doing, this is nothing but a test bed, so we don't have to really have any other step 2s here. All right, so we've conducted the string length test and displayed the result to the user. Next up, we will test the copy string function and display that process. After that, we will display the concatenate function and display that. Then we'll test the compare string for greater than, display a result as a result of the if statement there. We'll do the less than condition and display the result as an if statement. Then the equals condition and display its result as an if statement result. Then we're going to get a substring, and we're going to get a substring, which means we're going to pull out a piece of a string, and then we'll display that. But then next up, we're going to find a substring, and that's where we're going to find out if there is a substring within a larger string. And if we find that, then we'll display that part of it. Next up, we're going to be setting a string with that if it has any uppercase letters, it's going to be set to lowercase letters. And then we're going to display the lowercase string that we found. Next, we're going to talk about a couple of input operations that you will be using in your file operations. And we're going to test a line to get to a delimiter, some character to stop it, and then we'll show what happens out of that. And then we're going to get one to the end of the line, which will stop at the end of the line, and then we'll display that. And that will be what we need to do. This will test all of the tools that we will be creating in this series of videos. And next up, we've done steps 1. And again, step 2 is kind of done when we needed it before for a couple of things, but we didn't need any more step 2s for all of this other testing here. So we will go on now and get into step 3. So having done our steps 1 and 2 here, we'll go ahead and throw in a couple of things we've already seen here. We're going to put a printf under the title here. We're going to do a string length test here for the get string length, and then we'll display that result right there. Now the first one up we're going to do is a copy string function. So we'll go ahead and put a copy string in there, but what this means is that we will need to go over to our string utils file and spec that out. Our string utils file has the get string length in it, so we're already there with that. And what we want to do is we put the functions in here is put them in alphabetical order. So we'll go ahead and put the copy string in there. Copy string will be its name. It'll copy one string into another, overriding a destination string. We'll have a source string here as an input parameter, and then we'll have a C-style string destination string as an output parameter. In other words, this is going to be input, this is going to be output. Note also that the input one is not meant to be changed, so it will have a const on it. This will be changed, so it does not have a const on it. And we come along here, copy string is going to need to use get string length, so we'll throw that in there. Okay, back to our other game here. We will put in the printf for the copy test here. And now we're going to do our concatenate string function. We'll put that in here, and then the test for that will have a printf. Let's go ahead and spec this guy out. Concatenate string is the name. It's going to append one string to another. Same story as copy string. We're going to have a source string here, again, be constant because it's unchanged. Destination string here. We won't be using anything else, but we will be using getString as a dependency. Back to our other system here. We're going to now do a compare string. Now our compare string is going to be used 3 times. Greater than condition, less than condition, and equal condition. All right, so it's going to be the same function. We just have to do that. And then our printfs for each one of these to verify that they did work. Let's go ahead and spec out compare string. Again, compare string is alphabetically before concatenate string, so I put that in there. This compares 2 strings. If the left string is less than the right string, it's less than 0. If the left string is greater than the right string, it's greater than 0. This is not -1 plus 1. This is less than or greater than. Be careful you don't get bit by that. And if the left string is equal to the right string, then that returns 0. but that also includes a test for length under that circumstance. Input parameters are going to be left and right strings. Notice again, they're not meant to be changed here, so they will both be constants. The output returned is an integer, which will in fact represent one of these values here. And again, this one will use getStringLength, popular function. All right, with that in mind, let's continue on here. Here we will do getSubstring. And again, this is a function that will actually pull a substring out of a larger string given the start index and the end index. And then we'll print the results of that. Let's go take a look at the function there. This is the last one alphabetically at this point. We put it in here, captures a substring between two inclusive indices, returns empty string if any of the indices are out of range, and it also assumes enough memory in your destination string. All of these do, so you need to keep an eye on that. We come in here. The source string again is constant because it does not need to be changed. The destination string will be the result of getting this substring quantity here. We'll have the start index, the end index, and it's also going to have a malloc. We're going to do a little bit of dynamic memory in this one, malloc and free, but it's going to use getStringLength and copyLength. And so the output parameter will be that destination string, and we've got that ready to go. Let's go back and look. Here we're going to find a substring. This is where we're going to look at a larger string and see if there's a part of that string we can pull out that's exactly the same as what we think. And that's where we really want to compare if a certain part is in a substring. You will definitely be using this function a little later on. And then we'll print its results. Let's go over to our string utils file. We will drop this one in alphabetically before getStringLength. This is a linear search for a given substring within another string. We get a test string that is given to us as a string to be working on, and then a search string to see if that string is within the test string. We will either get the index of the found substring, or we'll get substring not found if the string is not found. And we will also use getStringLength for this particular one. Both of these are consts because neither of them are meant to be changed. So that's our find substring. Let's continue on. We're going to come down here and we're going to set a string. If it has any uppercase letters, we're going to change those to lowercase. So set string to lowercase alphabetically inside the set list of functions here. Iterates through the string, sets any uppercase letters to lowercase, has no effect on other letters or characters, periods, apostrophes, or anything like that. We'll have a source string here, and then we'll have a separate destination string that will have our characters change. So it does not change the first one. That's set to const, and it actually sets it to the dester. There may be a reason to do that in some cases. It does use the function to lowercase, which means we're going to have to create that function. So we'll come down here to lowercase. This is a supporting function. It's not actually used in the main program, but it's one that's going to be used for this one right here. And it basically handles one character at a time. Again, this is a more modular way to approach this. We set it to a lowercase. We take in a test character. We set it to a lowercase if appropriate. In other words, if it is an uppercase letter. Otherwise, we don't change it at all. Notice, by the way, our return here is a character 0 because that's what's supposed to be returned. All of these that have something to be returned have to put the correct data type in there for any of these. Okay, let's go back to the main process again. We call it getString to delimiter, and then we do our printf right here. Let's go ahead and look in our other file here. GetString to delimiter is one of a couple we're going to use, and we're going to base it on another function so that we can be adaptable and modular. It's going to capture a string from the input stream to a specified delimiter, and I want to note that it consumes a delimiter. In other words, if you take it up to a period and then print it out, you won't see the period. It will consume that. The input are the input stream file. This is going to be for file operations. It'll be the file pointer, but we're going to use it in a slightly different way. And then it's going to stop at the specified delimiter, and it will return out of that parameter there, it will return its own string. So we're going to have the string, the file in stream that we're going to use, the delimiter, and then the captured string. Now this is going to use a function called getStringConstrained, which can get strings in all kinds of ways. So we're going to go ahead and build that one here. And getStringConstrained captures a string, and it just says with various constraints. If it's specified to clear the leading non-printables, it does that. Or if it's supposed to clear a leading space, it does that. It could stop at non-printables. These are characters that are usually the \r or the \n that might be the end of a line, or anything else that's just below space in the character land. And then it could also stop at a specified delimiter. And when it does that, notice it consumes the delimiter. These are the parameters. So this function could actually be derived to lots of other functions. We're going to derive it to 2 of them, and those will be the delimiter and then the end of line one we'll look at in just a moment. So that's our getStringConstrained. Next up will be our getString to the end of the line here, to line end, and printing the results of that. Taking a look at our actual string utils utility here. There's the function, captures a string from the input stream to the end of the line. Wherever it starts, it's going to go to the end of the line. Again, it's going to take a file pointer right there. It'll give you back the string returned, and that's about it. But it will give you a success of the operation, the getting string to the line end. And by the way, that was also the case here. I didn't mention that, but the success of the operation is also returned on the get string to delimiter. Again, this one right here does not use fgetC. This one uses getStringConstrained. Again, by doing that, I have one function that really does the work, and the other ones can pick off what it likes to do. And you could develop other functions that are related to this if you want to use that engine. Okay, so that's good there. And that's about all we have for this. So we now have our steps 1, 2, and 3 for this particular program. Very simple. It's really nothing but a test bed program or a driver. And so we'll be able to just run this through as we develop our functions in the steps 5 and 6. We still need to do step 4 and fill out this program here. So we'll do that next in the next video. And having completed the steps 1, 2, and 3 for the string utilities file and for the program that's going to drive it, we can go ahead and wrap this up now.